Globalization is the growing increase in the economic, social, and cultural interactions of countries around the world. Globalization supposes an accelerated advance of a global capitalist economic regime, making economic self-sufficiency more difficult. Currently, there is an unprecedented movement of international trade driven by free trade agreements driven to globalization. Telecommunications have played an important role in the advancement of globalization and international finance. International trade, thanks to globalization, has grown a lot because companies allocate a larger part of their products to export. Globalization also influences social level, with satellites that allow the easy localization of cable signals, where you can watch international news channels. However, globalization represents a fear for societies, and especially for minority groups, who fear that globalization will generate cultural pollution, lose their own costumes, and the globalization will go so far to the point of losing the identity of the village. In international relations and world politics this exists four actors important that are states, international organizations, non-governmental organizations, and individuals. The state is a territorial entity with a number of inhabitants, which are directed by a central authority. The states are the ones who dominate the international discourse, and is the most important actor of the aforementioned. The government is a state in the charge of protecting the security of its population, maintains the economic welfare of citizens, and the sovereignty of its nation. In the other side, we have an international organization. Is an institution composed of states as members, for example, the United Nations, European Union, and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The international organization act together with the states as consignors of this globalized world. Their organization deals with various topics of common interest, such as political, economic, social, health, etc. These organizations have acquired so much power that they even influence the political decisions of the states. Also, we have non-governmental organizations. As the term suggests, the NGOs are composed of private, non-state international actors that cut across national boundaries. The first are private sector economic organizations. These NGOs are those non-profit organizations, although they also include those that belong to private sector, totally independent of the government of a country. They don't dedicate themselves precisely to the economic aid and the developing countries, which depend mainly of the foreign investment, but also through campaigns and support groups that help the development of these states. The second is transnational NGOs. They have a broader spectrum that multinationals act as means of pressure that influence the behavior and decision-making of other organizations and states. They deal with environmental, health, and humanitarian crisis issues. Many of them focus on a single state, however it goes beyond borders, that is that stateless. The third is humanitarian non-governmental organization. This type of organization must completely remove the policy of its administration. because the political influence could intervene at the prevent aid in combat zones in case of being a humanitarian aid organization. Fortunately, this type of association has had a remarkable increase in the last years. And the last, non-state armed groups. Transnational criminal organizations are criminal groups focused on arms trafficking, prostitution, traffic in white, drug trafficking, among other illicit activities. These associations interfere in political affairs when their interests are frustrated. At first, it was easy to identify them in a particular state. However, they present themselves in a more globalized way and operate from different points to achieve their criminal objectives. Another actor is individuals. This category includes the personalities that, thanks to their action, have managed to make improvements or change in their international environment. Nevertheless, they didn't achieve it alone, but they needed an organization that would support them to fulfill their tasks. Security, economy, and identity. It is wrong to generalize about global problems, although it is true that much of the world suffers environmental catastrophes. Surely, there will be places where it is more serious than in others. Security is one of the most important issues carried out by the state, and this usually translates into basic survival and protection of sovereignty. Many states base their security on alliance treaties and international organizations to that belongs. The economy is crucial since it represents the general power of states and revolves around international commercial activity, foreign investment, health, and the environment. This is a political issue in which the decision of a government affects the economy. And finally, identity. Identity is associated with the nationality, values, culture, and tradition of the people who are inside it. Transnational movements, as a consequence of globalization, can create new emerging identities. The identity may be based on the conviction of environmental, religious, economic, political, and social movements, and not only because of the territorial delimitation of the states they inhabit.